Okay, clap.
Ah! My phone fell.
Are you actually ready?
Again?
No, you're
Should I
fine. Are you
clap?
ready?
Okay.
Be
Yeah, I'm
silent
ready.
for like 2 seconds. Are you being silent?
This is so hard with you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We discuss all kinds of fictional monsters, creatures, and beasts, from the alien to the mythological and supernatural, from all corners of pop culture. I am one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and
I'm the other host, Khalid Hussein.
ooh, how are you doing, Khalid?
I am groovy. We were supposed to do this early morning, and then we decided to do it in the evening. So I'm raring to go. I've been ready since I woke up.
Yeah, which was like 7:30 for you, right?
Yeah, 7:30 my time. So 12 hours later, I am back in the saddle.
You know what, Khalid? I'm going to take you somewhere.
Okay.
All you need to know, Khalid, is that it is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition. You with me, Khalid? It lies
How do
between the pit of a man's fear and the summit of his knowledge.
how do I pack for that?
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
that's the opening.
You made me think. Yeah, no, that is the opening. That's great.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everyone what we're talking about today? It is the Twilight Zone, but it's a specific Twilight Zone.
I'd love to, Joe. Today we're talking about the season 5, episode 3 of the original, the classic Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, written by Richard Matheson and directed by Richard Donner. We got 2 Richards for the price of 1. And our homeboy Google has a nice and lean little plot for us. It goes a little something like this. A man recovering from a nervous breakdown sees a horrifying creature on the wing of his plane, with William Shatner.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Khalid, I have a question for you about this. I was watching this with Nicole last night, or 2 nights ago, I think, and we were kind of wondering.
Friend of the podcast, Nicole.
Friend of the podcast, yep, and former guest. I was wondering, do you think in the plot thread you pointed out that he's coming off, the main character's coming off a mental breakdown and gets on this plane. Do you think it would have been more interesting if we didn't know the mental breakdown background right away, and maybe we found that out later on, or do you think that added to the overall paranoia of the episode?
I think it adds to it. I don't know. I mean, for me, it makes the question of, like, is this happening or not, that much more interesting, I guess. If it's just like, we don't know anything about this man, and then he sees a creature on the wing of a plane tearing it apart. I don't know. I mean, short of like somehow at the end of it pulling the rug out from under us and making him an unreliable narrator, we kind of have to take it at face value, don't we? This way, we feel just as crazy as he does, which is the point, I think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what they were going for. I think that it kind of would have been interesting if maybe like he'd seen it once, and then we maybe have this reveal dropped on us that he had this breakdown prior to that. That could have worked, but I think ultimately I like the way that they went with it overall, though.
No, yeah, I mean, we'll get into it. I didn't love this episode, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it either. It just, yeah, I think that if we're talking specifically about the whole through line of him like having come off of a mental breakdown on a plane, no less, that was a cool addition to it. I don't think that it suffered for it.
Right. So a little bit of background. Like you mentioned in your initial synopsis, this was written by Richard Matheson, who is a pretty prolific sci-fi fantasy horror writer. He wrote not only 16 episodes for the Twilight Zone, but he also wrote for like original Star Trek. He adapted a bunch of Edgar Allan Poe to the screen. He wrote a bunch of novels. Like he originally wrote I Am Legend and What Dreams May Come, among countless other things. So probably more than likely you've seen or read something from Richard Matheson. So it's kind of cool to know that he wrote this one. What you got a little bit of before, Khalid, but what did you think of the episode?
So I think that it's thankfully short.
Yeah,
So
25 minutes, a lean 25 minutes. I like it.
Real lean, real brisk, you can just kind of walk into it and you're out before you even realize. So either way, like even if the episode was just atrocious, which it wasn't, it was very fine. But even if it was atrocious, it's done before you can really like get too mad about it or like live tweet it to hell. That being said, I don't know. Maybe it's just that like that era of TV is such a distinct style unto itself that you're either on board with it from jump or you're not, and it's always been hard to grab me with the older productions. If I can just be more specific to this, I I think it was just too much on Shatner. I would love to have seen a little bit more from the wife, a little bit more from the other people on the plane. Again, they only had 25 minutes. There's only so much they could do. But the third time you see him look outside the window and the gremlin's there and then the gremlin's not there, you get it. You get it. It's if it is real, it's messing with him. If it's not real, then you gathered. He's crazy, or maybe not crazy. I don't want to use any ableist terms, but he's worn down and he's weary, and that's just the end result of that. That's fine, but it was just a tad too redundant before anything happened.
Right. I tend to agree with you. I actually watched this when I was a kid the first time. So I was really young, and I remember that the moment when the gremlin like sort of like pushes its face up against the window and he opens the curtains, like it's a jump scare, and like now I'm like whatever, but when I was a kid that like haunted my nightmares for like a couple nights. That freaked me out hard. But yeah, like you're right. Like there are a lot of it's just kind of based on like how can we kind of scare you or make you feel uncomfortable. But like you said, it does get redundant, and I really think if they tried to make this as it stands like longer, it would have been a huge disservice to it all, and it would have gotten too much. But I think overall, like yeah, I'm with you. It's decent. It's decent, and I think it's what's most exciting about going back and watching this episode is just looking at the root of how like this just like kind of this almost trope at this point of seeing something outside of a plane has gotten so prolific. So now it's like it's been parodied countlessly, like in The Simpsons and SNL and a ton of other stuff. It's been redone multiple times in other iterations. So it's like an important story in sort of the genre and in general. So it's interesting to go back, but yeah, it is not without its flaws, and it doesn't necessarily completely hold up under a modern lens.
It's great that you bring up The Simpsons because I found that parody scarier than the actual episode it was making fun of. And that was only like what was it, like a 5-minute Treehouse of Horror segment? Like
I think so, yeah.
The monster was scarier in it. The things it was doing, it rips off Flanders' head at one point. Spoiler.
I don't know if you saw. There's like the 1983 Twilight Zone movie, where they like remade like a couple classic episodes with famous directors at the time, and they redid this one, but instead of Shatner, it's John Lithgow, and that one's directed by George Miller.
Wow.
But Google the monster from that one, and it's very scary looking. But yeah, this original one is interesting to say the least. And we'll get into that more when we move into the specific of the monster creature itself. I have a lot about the costuming too. But yeah, but anyway, I think this is still kind of an interesting thing from the time. It's like 1963, I believe it came out. It's this Shatner pre-Kirk, so it's a really young Shatner. It's interesting to see how far he came.
Is this pre-Kirk? I thought this was
pre-Kirk.
Wow.
Yeah.
He looks better in the Star Trek series. I don't know. He looks older here for some reason.
Well, it's the Star Trek series in color too, so I don't know.
I guess maybe it's like the uniforms are more flattering than a bulky suit too.
Probably. He gets his shirt ripped off a lot.
Yeah, he does. I know what I mean by that.
I think we all know a little bit what you mean. It's okay.
Fair enough. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your relationship to the Twilight Zone world? Because I have my history with it, but I'm interested in yours because you saw this episode as a kid. So, I mean, Can you elaborate?
Yeah, most of my relationship with the Twilight Zone was when I was a kid. My mom liked to have old TV shows on a lot, so she'd have on, I think the channel was TV Land. I remember where we were, it was channel 61. That's how I remember that. But it was really old shows like, I don't know, like Happy Days, Green Acres, those kind of things, Beverly Hillbillies. But we would watch that in the evenings, in the later nights, like the old Twilight Zone would come on. And so she really liked horror, and she kind of helped. My mom was a big influence that got me into horror. And so we'd watch those together. And so I watched several of those episodes. And then we also watched stuff on other channels like the Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt. And so for a short period of time in my life when I was younger, I was really into that, like those like sci-fi horror anthology shows where each episode was a different story. But I definitely watched this one when I was really young. And I remember that face freaked me out.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. What about you?
Actually, it's sweet. I didn't see the classics. I didn't, unlike some people, I didn't have cable, so TV Land
Privileged.
TV Land was just what I called my imagination. No, but I did see the remake, the Twilight Zone remake, and that was not that good.
You're talking about the movie. You're talking about the movie. The Jordan Peele one.
No, not even that. Were they just movies or were they shows? Like I remember them being on UPN. I thought they were just full on episodes. There was like a reboot in the early 2000s.
Ah, you might be right. I don't remember.
Well, in any case, I only remember one episode from it, and it was a young Katherine Heigl, pre-27 Dresses, which we all know her from, and she played a time traveling assassin that went back in time to kill baby Hitler, and the whole episode is just her grappling with like the actual act of having to kill a baby. And I don't know, can I just spoil the ending of this episode of a show that most people will never be able to find?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Skip ahead like a minute if you don't want to hear it. But basically, in the end, she kidnaps baby Hitler and runs to like a bridge, and she freaks out because like people are chasing her, they're onto her, and she just like jumps into the bridge with the baby. She's like, all right, well, this is somehow morally better than just dropping the baby in. And so you're like, cool, so no more Hitler, right? Except the twist is that the au pair or the child care person for the Hitler family, I guess, they freak out and they're like, oh my God, I lost the baby. So they just like steal another person's baby, and that baby is who grows up to be Hitler. And that's the Twilight Zone for you.
Oh my God, I actually remember that episode. Yeah, I just looked up. It's Cradle of Darkness from the 2002 reboot of Twilight Zone. I totally forgot that iteration of Twilight Zone happened. It was hosted by Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, that was the part I forgot. At the end of it, Forrest Whitaker comes out and he's like, man, makes you think, huh? Don't want to waste your one time travel theory on that now, do you? Like,
yeah, kill the wrong Hitler, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, all right, Forrest, you really gave me a lot to chew on.
I remember that episode. I totally didn't until now you said that. So thanks for bringing that back to me, I guess.
You're welcome, and you're welcome to everyone I spoiled that episode for.
um, well, anyway, why don't we move on to the monster itself of this episode? Monster in question.
Let's get to it.
Yeah. So, do you know much about Gremlins, Khalid?
I do not. I've never even seen the movie Gremlins.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one we might have to do in the future also. I've learned throughout this podcast there's a lot of movies that I consider to be important that I think you have not seen. So it's okay. We'll get there.
All right. Just a hint of passive aggression there.
just no, not at all. Anyway, so Gremlins, I think this is interesting. So this is definitely or certainly a story that kind of popularized Gremlins in pop culture to some degree, but they were around for a while. So I did a little bit of research into this, and so they're like folklore creatures. So they're meant to be like mischievous creatures that basically screw with various types of aircraft. And Shatner mentions in the episode at one point where he's like, "Do you remember those in the war? What do they call them? Gremlins, right?" So it was sort of a myth or like urban legend that came out of like the Royal Air Force. So the earliest record of gremlins in writing apparently dates back to a poem from 1929. And it was definitely popularized more in World War II. And if you look into it or Google it, there's a lot of weird like propaganda looking posters with gremlins on it, like "Oh, don't let the gremlin get on your wing," or like "Don't let the gremlin do whatever to your plane," kind of like to make sure people are keeping up the plane upkeep. I guess I'm not sure what it was for, but they're strange if you ever look them up. Um, but there is roots of the gremlin word in like etymology going back further in Old English and old fairy tales like Grimm fairy tales too. Not quite the word gremlin, but things that are similar to describe mischievous little like creatures that do things. So it's kind of interesting, and then eventually, this brought into pop culture. Roald Dahl wrote a book about gremlins, and of course, the movie that you haven't seen also popularized it. Kind of interesting.
No, that's very interesting. So they definitely predate planes, is what you're saying.
It kind of, yeah. I think people. I don't know if it's confirmed or anyone would say like for sure, but like the idea um, of this kind of creature with words similar to the word gremlin predates planes, but what the iteration that we now kind of think of them as, save for the movie, the Joe Dante movie, which is a totally different thing, is about like messing with planes, basically. Yeah.
Oh, they're rascally. I'll give them that.
They are rascally, and so the gremlin in this movie, or in this movie, it's a show. This episode, uh, it's hard to describe. It's kind of like a bigger Ewok, but like kind of like a sheep also because he's like wide and like chubby and fuzzy. But he has like a face that kind of reminds me of like a little bit like a gorilla, but if like the gorilla's face was like a mask that was melted a little bit.
He looks like a cross between John Candy's character in Spaceballs and the guy in a bear suit in The Shining.
Yeah, actually, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know, he just looked too cuddly and approachable to be the big bad. I kept waiting for it to get more monstrous. Honestly, I think less of young Joe for being scared of
Yeah, fair enough. I think I do too sometimes.
it.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a very odd costume. Like there are like if you actually look at some other Twilight Zone episodes, they have some freaky masks and creepy like makeup, and I don't know why they went with this choice. I mean, he's fuzzy. He's like almost like a teddy bear, like
Also, the
I don't know.
movements, I don't know, like they got a. I mean, not to body shame anybody. I'm no spring chicken myself, but like the guy was just he just looked like kind of like a stout, stocky dude, and his movements weren't even scary. I'm just saying he's no Doug Jones. You know what I
No
mean?
Doug
There's no
Jones. Yeah, hard to be hard
there's
to be
no
a Doug Jones.
there's nothing. I don't. If you told me that he was an electrician until that morning when he got picked up off the street, I'd believe it. I didn't see anything in, and maybe somebody's gonna like tweet at me and be like, actually, this guy went to a clown school and he taught Doug Jones, so you're an idiot. Which
Ugh.
fine, if that's the case, I welcome it. But nothing from what I saw with my own eyes told me that this was a physically gifted performer that should be playing a terrifying plane monster.
Well, actually, Khalid.
Oh man, already with the comeuppance.
And I don't know. I just know the actor's name is Nick Cravat, who played him, and you can Google pictures of him in the costume, and his body shape is definitely not the shape of the Gremlin. It's all added fluff.
Weird choice then. Weird
Yeah,
choice to make him just like a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could be. I'm mostly seeing pictures of him with like the head off and like in the costume, but from what I've seen, it doesn't look like. Yeah, he doesn't look like that.
All right. Well, I apologize for mischaracterizing your body type. That was on me. I will take that L. But you got to take the L too, Nick. You weren't that scary.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the concept is kind of scary. Like you kind of mentioned, like the idea of like having a mental breakdown on a plane and then going back on a plane and then seeing this thing and like the idea that he's first like questioning his own sanity and he's like that's in and of itself is scary. Like, am I reliving this breakdown that I had before when I put in all this work to be to try to I don't know, for lack of a better word, cure what happened, which I don't think is necessarily like a full on thing that you can do per se, but feeling like he's reliving that breakdown status and then being like, okay, maybe this is real. Like that space to be in is a scary concept. And the monster is, I think, more meant to represent that idea. But as it stands, it's still like a monster that we're talking about in this podcast, and monster by itself, it's not that creepy looking.
Yeah. I mean, if we're just criticizing the monster, which I'm very happy to keep doing, not that scary. I don't know. I wouldn't even characterize what he was going through as scary. Obviously, it's scary on its face of what worst case scenario, something is actually destroying this plane and we're all going to die, sure. But I don't know. The whole struggle just seemed really sad to me. Like, he just seemed credit to Shatner. Like, he really killed the role as far as the sheer exhaustion in his eyes. Like, I believe this is a man that just spent 6 months in a sanitarium or whatever. Like, that was very hard to watch in that regard. I just felt so bad for him that he's also somehow the only one that sees this thing. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, I guess I spent the whole time watching it going, well, what would I do if I was in that position? And honestly, I would just think I'm crazy. And I keep saying that. I don't mean it like it's not a great term. I'm learning. I would just think that I had lost my mind, you know?
I also feel like he keeps trying to have like the pilots or the like flight attendants come find it. I'm almost just like, what about the person like sitting behind him? They would have a good window view there too, wouldn't they?
Well, everybody else had their curtains closed because it was a storm and it was night and they were sleeping, which that was,
I guess that makes sense. But I would be like, I'd tell the person behind me, like, can you like look? Do you see something? Like, like look there. I mean, I guess do what he's kind of trying to do, but I would like kind of enlist the people right around me to like help me.
I think the implication though is that whatever mysticism drives the Gremlin, it also allows it to only be seen by him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't.
The moments when he like flies away, where does he go?
I don't know, and I don't. Again, like maybe that was scary back then. That's why it's so hard for me to judge this without like the context of the time. Maybe somebody just like breezily being like knocked off a wing wasn't hilarious to look at in the past, but it was very funny for me.
Yeah, those scenes are great. I mean, it's still like, where does he go and how does he get back to the plane? Like, there's got to be some magic. Like, it's some sort of magic that he has, or I keep saying I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's of course it's magic. I don't how at the very least it can fly.
Yeah, through a storm, nonetheless.
Through a storm, yeah, and it doesn't have wings. That was it was too crude of a costume to not notice wings.
Yeah, there's no wings.
Yeah, it's definitely the most annoying monster we've discussed on the podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, it's like the Dennis the Menace of monsters, isn't it? Just
kind of.
Oh, Gremlin! wing. Don't you mess with my wing. It's not. I don't know. It was just pesky. That's there was no menacingness nature to it. Granted, of course, like if the plane went down, they're all dead, but it still just seemed like pesky.
Yeah. You know, what else can be pesky? Bears can be pesky.
They sure can, Joe.
Yeah. Wow. Which leads me into this question. Khalid, would the gremlin pass the four bears test? What a segue. Thank you, everybody.
Are you gonna put in a round of applause there?
Yeah.
Are you gonna drown out my disappointment in you?
Oh, and absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. Four bears test. For those of you who are listening for the first time, I apologize. I seem pretty unenthusiastic about this one, so I hope you come back for the ones I'm super into. But if you have listened this far, essentially the Four Bears test is a test where I ask the jokey, dumb question, what would happen if you replace the titular monster that we're discussing with four bears? How does that affect the story, or does it affect it at all? Um, so with that being said, this episode, I'm honestly, I'm showing my card here. I'm showing my hand. I didn't think about it too hard. But I think it does not pass the four bears test because I don't think four bears could stay on the wing of a plane long enough to do damage to it while it's 20,000 feet in the air. More so, I don't think that they would have the ability or wherewithal to hide every time anybody but one person tried to see them. The thing is a flying ninja type, which are two things bears definitely are not. So yeah, it's a fail, right, Joe?
Well, actually, yeah, probably fail.
Yeah, come on, man. Don't do that to me. I was ready to look
Yeah.
like a whole fool because of you.
I mean, the only case I could make for it would be that it kind of looks like a teddy bear, but yeah, not much of that would go towards actually passing the test as is. So yeah, nope, fail. Stamp of fail there.
Yeah, it's a big old fail.
Right. I was kind of thinking too. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, and I just it just popped in my head. It didn't have anything to do with four bears or the monster, even the monster necessarily, but it's kind of interesting. I think just given the stigma that historically has been there, and Nicole actually pointed this out too while we were watching, was the stigma for like men in terms of like getting help for mental health, and that's not always addressed. And it's kind of interesting to think about that in that here. And I don't know if the show's trying to say anything at all, but there's a lot of just like in general in society, like we're still at that place where it does like there's like this masculine factor. I don't know where it comes in, where men tend to often like put off their own physical and mental health, and so it's kind of interesting to think about like this character being like a man who was just kind of dealing with his own mental health and coming back from that. So I don't know where I'm going with it, but it just something that I thought was kind of interesting about the story.
I would agree. Yeah, I don't really have much frame for reference again for the pop culture of that time, but it does seem a little bit radical or I don't know. I guess just novel to address mental health, male mental health. I know there was definitely the tropes with women who were considered to have like lost their mind in some sense. So yeah, it was cool to see that. It also just made for a very meaty role for a young Shatner.
Absolutely.
So that was cool to see the beginnings of his career, or at least one of the steps in the beginnings of his career.
Yeah, definitely. And for as much as we're dunking on it, I think that I definitely can see, because it's such a simple plot idea. Like I can see how it became as influential as it has, and how it's like parodied and like remade in so many ways. Like it is silly to talk about and kind of funny to talk about the monster, but I definitely see like the value in it in like pop culture and pop culture history too.
Oh, the idea is genius. I feel like I'm misrepresenting like the things I'm criticizing. For me, it's I think I outlined it all right. Where it's the repetitiveness. That
Yeah.
to me like makes it lose a lot of points. There's a lot of ideas in this that like even now with the benefit of hindsight, I still give a lot of credit to them for. Just the idea of a tense thriller in a plane is so perfect. A plane is the worst place you want anything life or death to happen because the stakes just ramp up. I mean, it's only second to a spaceship, where you're in such a helpless location as far as getting anybody outside of a plane to come in and stop the threat. It's all on you. So that's so cool to be on the forefront of something like that. Because like what was like commercial flights like 20, 10 years old at this point. Who knows? Like that's so. I mean, people know. I don't know, but that that's so cool to me to be able to be one of the first people to go. You know what's kind of scary? Planes.
Yeah,
That's
no,
just
that's
that.
it. It's also like rooted into the idea that that like this something that's scary, like the environment you're in can be scary, especially when you're out of your element. And humans, like we weren't built to be in the air. Like we build things to help us get there, and so that is not our element, and it's a scary place to be. Just like it underwater, like underwater horror freaks me out too because it's like whatever's attacking you down there, like that's their turf, and you're like same with space, like that's their place, and you're not like we don't belong there in a sense, and like we're like outsiders, and so they have the advantage, and that's what makes that scary. And I think that this kind of gets to that, like what for whatever silliness the Gremlin is, like it obviously the mechanics of it works in this storm high up in the air, and so it's like it has an advantage over Shatner, who like shoots out the window of the plane and like almost flies away and dies, but he's trying to get him, so like he has no chance.
Yo, that if I can dunk on it just one more time, uh, the the scene when he gets the gun is so laughable. I don't know what else to like call it. It was, you know what I
It
mean?
was
When he
so
like
goofy. Yeah, he just like
it,
or like he throws his like pack of cigarettes, which
he
is another thing,
throws
that
it. He
there's the
doesn't
cigarettes
even
on the
actually
plane
drop
too.
it.
He just
Yeah.
throws
Oh
it
yeah.
on the floor.
He starts the movie just like lighting up on this airtight tube.
And his wife's like,
Like I,
wait until we're in the air.
which lady? That's not the thing you should take umbrage with. If anything, let them smoke it before they take off, so that they can like recycle some better air out of it before they go up. But when he steals that gun, that is, I had my roommate Eric with me watching it, and we were just like, if they couldn't use another angle on this because how do you explain literally nobody seeing this horrible attempt at theft?
Yeah,
It's
like
it
even
is.
if even if the guy's sleeping, like what about anyone else next to them? Like no one else is.
He's not
Everyone's
even
sleeping.
sleeping. His like hand is like moving and stuff, and he doesn't just like casually like pickpocket it or something. He goes up to it and like nuzzles it. It's so confused. He just like caresses it with his cheek and then like lifts it up so slowly. And I'm just like, Indiana Jones, you are not, sir. You
Yeah.
you have no sense of urgency when it comes to lifting a gun off of a cop in the middle of the sky.
Yeah, airplanes have come a long way.
There's, I guess that's the takeaway. Yes.
Yeah. With all of that being said, if you mentioned earlier that you kind of ran through the story, like what if you were in that situation, you just what would you do or how you'd feel. But
Admit that something was wrong with me and ask for them to put me to sleep.
right, but then with that, like going a little bit further, if you encountered this gremlin, and maybe perhaps you had like a throughway to actually talk to it, would you take that opportunity to flirt with it, or would you fight it?
It's a good question, man. I didn't think about the four bears thing, but I did think about this.
I'm very
And
excited about what you come up with this one, actually.
I don't know. I mean, it's nothing too flashy. I think I've made my opinions on the creature as far as its thought process a little clearer. It's kind of pesky. It's kind of bratty. I'm a grown man. I'm past that place in my life where I'm looking for a little mischief. I like stability when it comes to my monstrous partners. So couple that with the fact that a mentally exhausted Shatner, half flung out of a plane window, was still able to just knock it clean off the plane, just shoot it dead. I like my chances, I really like my chances. It's it, I don't always think that I've got like a fair shot when I pick fight it. Sometimes I'm like, I'll fight it and probably die, but that's just the way it goes. With this thing, I don't know. It's done nothing to prove to me outside of the occasional just allowing a gust of wind to take it away. It's done nothing to show me that its physical prowess is anything I need to worry about. It even had a little trouble just pulling the panels off of the plane, which maybe it's stronger than a human, but it's not faster than a bullet, buddy. And we're in the US of A where bullets are not hard to come by. So book me a ticket on that Spirit flight that it's tearing up. I would fight it.
There you have it. Good pause there.
Thank you. Again, I almost forgot, but the gap is getting smaller.
So you'd fight it, huh? I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I would maybe flirt it, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you're gonna have to digest on your own. It's not your segment.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let people wonder about that one. Did you know that you can get like a bobblehead action figure of this creature?
Really?
Yeah, I think that I thought I saw it. And there's like a regular action figure, and you can get a bobblehead too.
Are you gonna? I'm not.
I kind of want it. Like it's silly, but it's like I kind of dig it in how bad it is in some way. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I'm a fan.
All right. I mean, yeah, and it's like conquering your fears, this thing that traumatized you as a child and you now can just keep in your house as a reminder of it.
Traumatized is a heavy word there. I mean, it just freaked me out for like a night.
You were sobbing for years. I met you with just a tear streaked face, just whimpering about some kind of plane demon, and I had no idea what you meant until today.
Well, there you go, full circle.
Yeah, I'm humbling you.
Well, you know what's kind of cool actually. We've been going long on a lot of our episodes, and we've been kind of been like, how are we going to tighten up a bit? And there's always such great content that just that I tend to spill out, and you tend to sometimes support. But we have a nice tight episode here. We're in there. We're shorter, so let's move on to our final segment. We're wrapping it up with the Twilight Zone episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. And we're going to move on. Our final segment of the episode is the segment called "What the Fandom."
What the fandom?
And in that segment, we share just sort of what we're obsessed with at the moment, whether that be a movie, show, book, podcast, song, album, anything, what have you. Just what we're into, what we think you guys would be into as fans of this podcast, also. But yeah, Khalid, what the fandom?
All right. So my fandom, I just want to get the author's name right. If you can give me just 1 second, please.
Author Khalid, you have a book?
I know. I
Oh
mean, you'll
my.
see. It's not a book in the traditional sense.
Okay.
It's give me 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. All right, so my fandom is actually the graphic novel series that was created, I believe, in 2019 by Saladin Ahmed. It's Miles Morales, the Spider-Man series. I picked it up in 2019 and I really liked it, and then I was reading them when they were monthly issues coming out, and it was great, but I kind of fell off. But now I'm just reading the volume straight through, and it is so good, dude. I mean, anybody who liked the Into the Spider-Verse movie really, really needs to just pick this up. It is so cool what they do with this character. The writing is it's awesome. The kids talk like kids, not like how a bunch of 50-year-olds think kids still talk. And there's so much integration with technology that doesn't feel forced. The relationship with his parents is so evolved and so sweet and touching. The relationship with his uncle, which you'll remember from the movie if you've seen it, is so much more elaborated upon, and the action is so great. The art is amazing. Credit to the authors. But again, like Saladin Ahmed, I've read a couple of his other works too, thanks to Joe who put me on. And yeah, I could keep going on and on, but it is so cool. If you want to check it out, it's called Miles Morales. So it's dope. There's I believe 3 volumes out now, so you've got a lot of material to work through, and I think that it actually is a continuance of the Miles Morales work that was started a few years back. So if you want, you can even start a little further back and work your way up to it. But do yourself a favor and pick up that novel.
Good choice. Saladin Ahmed is a great writer too. I've read some of his other stuff, and I've always liked what he's written. He's also a fun person to follow on Twitter too.
Nice. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hit him with the follow.
Yeah.
What's your fandom, buddy? Hit me.
All right, my fandom. For those of you listening to this podcast, this might be a couple weeks old now since we're recording it right now, but I just wanted to shout out the series finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was so good, and I really loved this final season. I think season 6 was one of their weaker seasons, and so coming off that, which was a bit of a struggle, and coming into season 7, they did a time travel plot, and they just did so many cool things with the characters, and the finale was just way more emotional than I anticipated it to be, and I really liked it, and it just wrapped up the storyline in so many great ways. And so anyway, I'm very impressed. I know the show didn't grab people at first. In the first season, it was like kind of like just a tech thriller with attractive group of people set in the MCU, but with no familiar characters in the Coulson. So a lot of people didn't dig it, but ever since then, it's definitely gotten better. It's super weird and out there and just wacky, and I love it so much. I mean, it's a periphery story to the MCU. You almost don't even have to watch Marvel movies to like it, but I think it adds to it, and I think it's a great companion piece to the whole MCU in general. So I'm a fan. If you stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., check it out. If you stopped watching, just some random person might have stopped watching halfway through season 6, you should definitely finish it.
Yeah, whoever that is, they should definitely pick the show back up. That's crazy.
Right? Who would do that?
Only the worst. I hear Katherine Heigl's going back in time to kill them as a baby.
Makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, he has. As I can attest to his feverish endorsement of this season. He has made it his mission every week after a new episode comes out to let me know that it is great, and I will eventually catch back up because it sounds really cool. And once work slows down, I will have more time to indulge my shows, my programs.
It's recorded now, so you have to do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Khalid. Do you know what we're talking about next week? Next week. Why did I do it again? Next episode. Khalid. Okay, Khalid. Do you know what we're going to be talking about next episode?
Yeah. Next episode, we're going to be talking about an American Werewolf in London.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I saw it once as a kid. This one actually, like the way this monster terrified you for your entire childhood and most of your young adult life, that movie kind of scared me.
It's a good movie. I'm excited. We're gonna have a special guest on with us, so that'll be fun to tune into. And I believe, from what I've seen, you can watch the movie on HBO Max if you have HBO. Otherwise, I'm sure you could rent it on Amazon Prime if you don't have it to watch before we discuss.
Get HBO Max, you nerds. And on that weirdly unnecessarily hostile note, thank you guys for listening and creep it easy.